Alright, man, this a little impromptu. This is impromptu for sure. I really wasn't even planning on doing another live today. But I'm gonna do a real quick one. This gonna be quick. I don't think I gotta make this all night. And we just gonna talk red pill. We just gonna talk the importance of it in black men's lives, in the community of black men when we talk black men, and just how it's been important for me and overall. But I really want to give the background. I'm going to give the background on where red pill began or its roots. I'll say that. I'll give some root information. If you just turning to this channel for the first time, I am Boi Dru, the charm guy, king of uncomfortable, controversial conversations. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this message. Also, throw 50K in the chat. 50K is representative of the 50,000 subscribers that we are going for this year, and we will achieve it. We know that it's a big task here, but we are already growing every day, by the minute, by the hour, and I'm thankful for everybody that subscribes and everybody that's a part of the conversation in the channel. It is greatly appreciated. Hopefully my dog don't start tripping and I can get this message out, but it shouldn't really take more than an hour. Um, Often a lot of participation. This time, with this hour, with me going impromptu, I'm not really concerned with that. I just want to get the message out, and I'll leave it up for everybody to check it out. So here's the deal. And of course, if you're just coming in, hit the like button. So we're gonna talk about red pill and its origins. When we talk about red pill and manosphere, where does it come from? Where is the origins of the information? What you first must understand is that red pill language, red pill talk is born out of the pickup artist community. There was a time where there was literature being written and put out to men about how to speak to women, how to get to women, this, that, and the third. That's where the red pill information came from. There were actually pickup books. So, if you wanted to go talk to a woman, you didn't have no game, so to speak, you would read the book, or you would, learn this information from men that are pretty savvy with women, that have spoke to women, talked to women throughout their lives. They just learn how to, they got some game. And what these men do is they write the book, other men go look at it and they'll get some of the lines, some of the pickup lines. That's really what they've gotten, you know. So you go get the book, you read the book, you go out here and try to pick up chicks. Ultimately, what men are doing when they're doing that is they are going out to get mates. They're going out to get mates so they can mate with them. That's the whole point of the pickup artist community. That was the starts. That's the root of Red Pill. And by the way, if y'all just coming on in, hit that like button for me. Before you troll, hit the like button, hit the dislike button. It don't matter what you do, but give this message some attention, whether it's good or bad. We want everybody involved, and we want everybody to have a conversation with us. So go ahead, hit that like button, and go ahead, hit that share button, so YouTube can share the message this evening. But anyways, like I said, the pickup artist community is where you that was like the start of the red pill community, was pickup artists, pick the pickup game. Then what they did was they started swapping notes. They would have forums, and sort of like Reddit, where they get on and they'll talk about their different experiences with just picking up women. What do women like? They learn that in this community, and I've mentioned this book before, and I would actually recommend it again. So this book is called the Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi. It's a book that I think all men should read, and it is a book that I think all women should read. I definitely believe that. But this book mentions that and talks about how, in the manosphere, so to speak, this is where you get the roots of Red Pill, where men were actually, again, pickup artists, pickup lines, whatever the case may be, the pickup game. It started from the book, started from the manosphere and blog world, and then they began to communicate on what women like. They got to know women in a more, depth way, as far as getting their phone numbers, and uh, what were they more interested in. That is the root of Red Pill. What happens is over time, as men are swapping notes and they have dealt with women and understand how women act and respond to different types of archetypes of men, and they have discussed this thoroughly, now you're starting to hear men be more vocal about it. That's what you're hearing. You're hearing men be more. Now, this was always the case amongst white men. This had always been the case in the white community. It really was very rare in the black community. The reason why it has caught so much fire is because we're very vocal. The black community is very vocal. You know, we've made it popular. Kevin Samuels is a big figure in this. When you talk about red pill thinking, talk manosphere speech for our people, Kevin Samuels is really big. Now you got Fresh and Fit. You know, I don't really watch Fresh and Fit. I've seen some clips. You have certain guys that's in the community. Some just downright disrespectful, if you ask me. Some of them just they seemingly seem to hate women, but at the end of the day, this is we are catching on late. We are catching on last. I'm just setting this up because this is inspired by someone that has a high disdain for red pill talk and manosphere talk. And I want to talk about why it's important. Yes, I understand that it is some negative speech in the community, but I really want to talk about why red pill and manosphere conversation is very important. But I got to set this up again. Like I said before, it's the pickup artist community. Then it filters over into just dialogue, men having relationship issues, trying to figure out what's going on with their women, because that's really what it came to. It kind of like progressed. Okay, we were talking about pickup game. Now we're talking about what's happening between men and women. The things in the relationships, and then it's progressed to seemingly critiquing women. That's kind of what it seems. Like I think a lot of the issue that people have with red pill talk is that it's seemingly critiquing women and is bashing women, and it's really not. That's not the case. It's not about bashing women at all. Red pill manosphere conversation overall is good for men to dialogue with one another in the issues that they have had with women. I'm going to say this again. Red pill information or manosphere dialogue is good because men get to talk about the issues that they've had with women. And this is I talked about this earlier on live. We are now in the moment, we're living in a time where we're hearing men speak about what's really going on inside, what they've dealt with in their relationships in a way that we've never heard them talk about. And I'm gonna just say within the last 4 to 5 years, you're hearing men really speak about the issues that they've had in their relationships, and they're being vocal about it. I don't think that that's all bashing. And the funny thing is, Kevin Samuels came and set this up on this network, so people he walked so we could run, because you've got what Kendra G and all these women. Women were bashing him, but took his model and are now talking about the same stuff. At the end of the day, they're talking about the same stuff. I've talked about Princella, um, sort of Cheyenne Bryan, but they this relationship space for at least for black people was built by Kevin Samuel. Now there have been a lot of people that have had critique of the opposite gender. You've had a Tommy Sotomayor. You've had other people in the community say things, but for the most part, Kevin Samuels really built this world for everybody to come in and have these conversations. Now, that book I was telling you about, The Rational Male, I read that before I even knew who Kevin Samuels was. Somebody actually put me on to him. But I was already privy to the red pill manosphere world because it had been more of a white male driven, society, to be totally honest. This is really new for black people. But when we're talking about the way it stands today, the current environment of red pill, or I should say, state of red pill manosphere discussion, I think it's very important for us to have it. All topics. Yes, you're going to have men in there bashing women. You're going to have men that are very bitter. It is no different than when you have women get under posts that men may make in commentary of the relationship world or dating world, who have had bitter experiences with men. A lot of these men have had bitter experiences with women. That's just the case. A lot of these men have had bitter experiences with women. I don't think that a lady bashing should be accepted. But I mean, I think that a lot of the times when these men are, venting in the comments or bashing, it is legitimate. There is from some legitimate experiences. But again, Red Pill Manosphere Talk is not all about bashing women. And just because there's a critique of women or men are getting together and saying that this is the critique that they've had of women, it does not mean that they hate women or they're bashing women. In fact, I have not seen outside of Fresh and Fit, I have not seen a lot of commentary from Red Pill content creators that is just diabolically bad. I really hadn't seen that. Now, if y'all follow Pearl, well, I think it's Pearly White or whatever her name was, Pearly White. I don't know. It's Pearl. Just put in Pearl Red Pill Manosphere conversation. She's a white woman, I believe, under 30 who be putting the game down. She be saying some really good stuff. And I think that a lot of times she may be a little more, she's probably just as aggressive with the dialogue and what we're talking about in terms of dating women, the errors that women have or the mistakes that they make. I think she's just as aggressive as any other content creator or red pill manosphere content creator out there who is a man. I totally believe that. But I like her material. What you're hearing is the mirror, you're seeing, hearing in real time, the mirror being held up to women because they are an important piece to this relationship conversation. It can't just be about men. And in the manosphere, red pill world, you're hearing men give their real feelings, dialogue about women, as well as you have men that are needing other men to talk to them. And I'm going to just be honest and be direct. Tell them to grow a pair of nuts. Get some nuts. There are a lot of men out here that are living miserable lives, that are at home, don't want to be home, working their hearts out, dealing with somebody at home that's just driving them crazy and making them miserable, and they don't know what to do. They're looking for literature. They're looking for conversation. They're looking to go to a place where they can identify with another man who has been through something similar and discuss it and talk about it. And it's not going to be all peachy. It's not going to be all powdered sugar. It's going to be harsh at times when men are venting and getting their feelings out. But men need a place to go. And I know that when I'm doing lives and I have men getting the comments, people that have joined the channel already, and they're just talking about the things that they went through, or they're discussing, or we're having response to the things that I'm talking about, and they're being vulnerable and talking about their real life situations. You need the space. You need the space, and you don't need YouTube and other platforms banning the speech because one group is just extra sensitive about it. Again, outside of I'm not a Fresh and Fit fan. I really hadn't looked at their material. When you got stuff like that, right? When you got a group of guys who are just getting young, impressionable women to get on stage and pretty much, you make fun of them, you talk down to them because these are younger women, by the way, impressionable women. I think that's a dog and pony show for sure. Because to be honest, the women that you want to have on those panels are women that have had some experience. You want to hear women that are seasoned. That's what you want to hear. You don't want to see women that's so young and impressionable and that they can't defend themselves. Appreciate that, like you don't. That's not what you. That's not what you want to see. So it's easy to make that look like a terrible dog and pony show. I would totally agree with that. But when you have women up there that are capable and that have been through stuff, and you can give some back and forth, then yeah, that's okay. But for Fresh and Fit, I was never really down with that. If you talking about Fresh and Fit, if you talking about, first off, we also have to understand this too. These women, after so many shows, they are voluntarily getting on this show to be pretty much ridiculed, made fun of, and all of that. These are not, nobody is forcing these women to go to these shows. So some of these shows where you have women up here that are participating, that we can't just make it seem like Fresh and Fit is forcing women to come on this show and just ridicule them. That's not the case. Now, there's this other show, I guess it's Conversation Tonight, or there's another podcast with a group of people that talk relationship talk, and there's a clip that's actually Anton Daniels showed it. I'm not finna go through looking for it or whatever, but of a chick that was basically saying all the nerds that didn't get picked in high school need to get over it, and they need to give those women a chance now. That's why we need red pill information, because what are you talking about? You know, women will pass off all sorts of information and a representation of themselves that is not good for men. They do this all the time. So if you don't have anything to combat that, it's going to be dangerous. You got to have conversation or a world where men can have dialogue for men, talk about what's really going on in the dating space. That's one. And two, you want to combat bad information. So you can't sit up here and say that red pill manosphere talk is bad, but then we allow, and I don't really want to say simp. I want to get away from using a lot of street terminology to describe what's going on in average people's lives and in the relationship dynamics. But I'll just say it like this. Henpeck, somebody that's henpeck, as I would say back in the day, or that's, you know what I'm saying, P-whip. You know, you can't have information that is cultivating a group of men to act like that and just accept whatever from women. Because whether people want to say this or not, we have a dilemma right now in this country. We have a dilemma. We have people are divorcing, not staying married. The percentage is off the chain. We have a lot of issues in regards to men and women being together, raising a family, especially in the black community. So we need this conversation. And for the first time, you're getting an upfront dialogue conversation of what's really going on in the man's mind, how he feel in this dating scene, dating world with women, and going to, attempting to be married to them. You're starting to see this hear this for the first time, and you need this information because you have to counter ideas such as like the whole phase, or you have to counter ideas against what this lady just said in terms of, if you was a nerd and you didn't get picked up by that woman, well, now give her a chance now. No, we're not doing that. We're not going to get sloppy seconds. We're not doing that at all. I'm thankful that there are men that stand up and go be stepdads and stepfathers. There are real men out here that do that. There are men that's gotta pick up that slack. But I'm not here to clean up your mistakes. I'm not somebody that you can look like. I'm not the safe bet for you when you spent your whole life being a whore. I said this earlier on, today. You're either a wife or you're a whore. We have to make that dialogue very apparent again. We have to make that dialogue very apparent again. We have to speak like that because we've heard for years and for years and for years and for years the critique of men. We've heard the critique of men, but we really have not heard a lot. A lot of the critique on women have been in the barbershop, behind closed doors. Men have felt this way and thought this way for years, but it's just a lot of men don't know how to get up, vocalize, and articulate what they're going through with women. Kevin Samuels did a great job of that because you're talking about somebody that was over 50 and who had the experience dealing with women where he could have that conversation. And that's what a lot of men need. There are a lot of men. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of men going through hell. There are a lot of men going through hell with their spouse, girlfriend, baby mama. What's up, Tekken? I'm just doing a little impromptu that I'm gonna put out. I'm gonna just lead this up. So it's a little impromptu because again, this was inspired by a brother that said that the red pill manosphere conversation gets on his nerve. He doesn't like the red pill manosphere. He don't think it's player. And what I'm saying is, I think it is good for men because we need this channel has been an example of that. And I want to say there's quite a few brothers that have joined the channel that have got on here and have had dialogue about the things that they're going through. There are men going through hell with their spouse. There are a lot of men that had to learn from their first relationship. They get in that first relationship and then they'll backdoor and get into a second relationship that usually does work out for them. But a lot of times we are dealing, nobody writes the book on this. Nobody gives you an instruction manual. So you have to learn. You literally have to learn um, through your journey on what it's like dealing with women, and then each one teach one. You know what I'm saying? We get out there and we teach each other, and it does challenge men to step up on all levels. It's a challenge for men to step up and do better financially. It's a challenge for men to have self development and have a purpose in their life. And then it also, red pill information. At least when I'm talking it, because I guess the information I share here would be considered that to a degree. When I'm up here talking that information, I'm talking from a place of what type of woman you should get. See, that's a conversation piece that's missing as well. What type of woman should you have? What type of woman should you go after and marry? Because you're going to have issues with them all. And a lot of times in the red pill community, you're going to get that type of information. Or we can just swap it out. Yeah, I've been through this. You should stay away from that if you've ever experienced this or if you've ever experienced that. So you need it. I think a lot of times what happens, you have a lot of men that have not been able to hold a woman accountable. You got a lot of men that have not been able to hold a woman accountable. They have not been breadwinners before. They have not been somebody that was able to take care of a family. Some men have always been in a position where they relying on a woman. That's why they so afraid to tell her like it is. You have some men that all they have done is relied on a woman. All they have done is in their lifetime, they've done what a woman has told them to do. They've had to have some sort of woman as a leader, and they have never been positioned to be able to stand up and say, well, I don't like that. Or, no, we're not going for that. Or, no, we're not doing that. And so when they hear men saying it, and you hear this a lot, whenever we are correcting women as a whole. I heard this today too, that it's not our place as men to hold women in the community accountable. Well, then who gonna hold them accountable? Who gonna tell them that they wrong for doing some of the shit they do if we don't do it as men? If we don't stand up and say we don't like that. No, we don't want the sexy red Megan Thee Stallion movement. We're going to shame that. If we're not, because what happens is when it goes unchecked and you let it just go out, you let perverse debauchery attitude, uh, language, and all that. When you let that go out into the atmosphere and influence others, you can screw up a whole entire community. Yeah, they gonna say that you ain't my daddy, but you want to be vocal. You want to be vocal and share to the masses the crap that you believe. To the like again, I'm going back to the whole phase. For women to get up there and say and promote that as something that's healthy is ridiculous. So what am I supposed to do? Oh, let them be what they want to be. And all that is men who just want to get some. Oh yeah, let them go out here and say they should have a whole phase. Nah, man, they don't need to have no whole phase. Man, these women need to be wise. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Women need to be striving to be somebody's wife and get up under somebody's program and protection, because when they don't have it, they're living in all kind of chaos. I didn't told y'all that before. So when you say it's not our job to hold them accountable, it's very much so our job to hold them accountable. And it is our job to tell our stories on what we have been through. It is our job to tell our stories and what we have been through, because even just telling that holds a lot of women accountable. Just us swapping our stories out, because many of us have experienced the same thing. It's just like what you said, Tekken. When you said she gonna tell you you ain't my daddy, we didn't hear them all say that. We done heard a lot of them say that. You ain't my daddy. Well, I don't want to be your daddy, But I do want to be your protector. If I'm gonna be your protector, what was your daddy doing? Some of y'all ain't even had no daddies to be even be saying that. But your daddy was. Let me tell you something. When a woman grew up in a house, or I'm gonna just say kids, period. When you have grown up in a house with a father, you have a floor general in there. You have somebody who is always in that house to ensure that there is discipline, standards, procedures, regulations. When a man is in that house, that is his job. A lot of them ain't used to that. But if you grew up with your daddy, if them women had a daddy in their life, I know he was telling them to put some clothes on. I got daughters. When they in the house, put some You can't just be out here wearing anything. You can't be out here just wearing skimpy clothes or whatever the case may be. My sons, hey, give me them phones. Let me look in them phones and see what y'all got in them phones. That's what a father is supposed to be doing. So listen. The husband is taking the place, or the man in your life is taking the place of your father. How they don't know that? That man is taking the place of your father. He is supposed to step in and provide you with guidance. He is supposed to step in and provide you with protection. But if you don't have this conversation in the red, and again, I said on here that I don't consider myself that because I do feel like a lot of the manosphere red pill talk is like it's angled in one direction, but I'm very much so red pill manosphere in terms of information and how it's applied and how do I apply it. I don't bash women, but I know what's up. You're not gonna run over me either. And I understand alpha, beta conversation. I understand that. I can speak that language. Now here, I like to elevate it. You said it's our job to speak on it and carry ourselves as an example of what to stand on. And if they don't listen, you can't protect them. That's very true. That's all it is. That's what we're supposed to do. Especially, I've said this before, and I'm glad you said that. Taking, I think you was in there that day when I said this. If I can't correct you, how can I protect you? If I can't correct you, how can I protect you? If I can't correct you. So again, when you entering into a woman's life to be her man, to they don't like words like presiding over or governing them, but you really have to do that because without it, what do they do? How do they function? They're not great decision makers. See, we this is me giving experience. This is me having time married to, having a wife for so long, having other women that I lived with for so long that we lived together, and kind of seeing how what's the pathology, their pattern behavior, behavior patterns. So a lot of brothers are getting up here and just again, hey, I'm gonna say that a woman makes terrible decisions because terrible decisions are often they make terrible decisions because I've seen it in real time. It's not me bashing a woman. I'm not getting up here to bash women. What I'm saying is, oh, I've seen in real time that they've made terrible decisions, that they'll make terrible decisions and blame others. They do this all the fucking time. They will get up here and make terrible decisions and blame everyone else. And then when we catch it and say, yeah, we think that's kind of silly, not only do you have the Cape Crusaders that are women that will come and try to comfort her in her time of being full of shit, you have you have pussyfied men who step up and try to protect them as well. So we've gotten in a place where we just so afraid to hold them accountable. I'm talking about even in when you're talking to them about anything, they don't want accountability at all. I have clips on TikTok, think pieces making one point, and women will just come out of the woodworks to try to prove you wrong or have some rebuttal. It's just like I have this clip where I was actually talking about Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. I was talking about Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. Man, I made the comment and said that there's a lot of men. There's a lot of men that not are they're not siding with Tory Lanez. They just aren't willing to hop on board of this idea that he is some sociopathic homicidal maniac, because there are many men that have been lied on before. There are many men that was in a situation similar to what he was in terms of you messing with, both the homegirls or whatever the case may be, and something pops off. You may have been very well responsible for it, but the narrative, it morphs into something that really isn't true, and it makes you look worse than her. A lot of men have experienced that. Now, yes, we're going to use our personal journeys and align it with celebrity stories and make our stands from there. That's not always right. It can distort how you see the facts, but nevertheless, there have been enough men to have been in a situation where they have been accused of doing something that they totally did not do. So yeah, nobody's running to this Megan Thee Stallion train. It's just not gonna happen. And we're saying, hey, we were with you until you start lying. We don't want to hear that you lying or that you can't be truthful on what the nature of your relationship is. But we've never seen, only within the last 5 years have you seen men really have some type of critique, or even will ridicule women for what they've experienced with them. This is very new. So I think you need it. I think you need the red pill manosphere conversation. You need it because a lot of men don't talk and swap information out. A lot of men do not. We bottle it all up. And to be totally honest, we've been told to do that. We've been told to go to work, make sure she happy, and let all the crap that she do slide. We have been told to go to work, be quiet, happy wife, happy life, and let all the crazy stuff that she do slide. Let it just go on and do what it do. We have been told that as men. You know, things people don't talk about. Man, suicidal rates for men is high. You have a lot of men, you talk about this loneliness epidemic. That's something that's going on. You have a lot of men are suffering in ways we can't imagine. And if you don't have a space where they can talk and dialogue about it, how you gonna make changes? How you gonna make changes? Exactly. Instead of happy house, happy spouse, happy house. Exactly. Man, I've had situations where when I went to counseling, I went to marriage counseling, very vocal and articulating myself in the counseling office, that I was accused of manipulating the counselor to take my side because the counselor was questioning my wife. Now, that's a very personal conversation. That's something that I'm sharing because I feel like it needs to be said. But I've also seen clips where a woman said that a lot of her clients that are women, that when accountability comes on them, they quit the counseling. I've experienced that. I've experienced that. I know that that's true. When I hear a therapist, a woman therapist, get up here and say that many women will quit therapy, yeah, I've experienced that. Quit therapy once the accountability is on them. A lot of women and men, cooler heads typically do prevail. A lot of women and men, the problem that we really have in our community is just conflict resolution. It's like she shuts down, she don't want to think, she don't want to talk about nothing, she just shuts off, and you can't. This is what I've been saying the whole time. And this is the reason why I think The reason why specifically, you've never really heard, first off, I'm going to say prior to Kevin Samuels, many people out there, prior to him, had no clue about what the Red Pill Manosphere shit was. Many people did not know what the Red Pill Manosphere was before him. So just recently, the reason why this has become such a big topic is because now that men are talking about how they feel and having this dialogue, specifically as it pertains to the black community, especially you hearing us critique women more. They before 2019, 2020, I mean, you had Tommy Sotomayor, but I mean, he got banned. They kicked him. I don't even know if you can find. You might be able to find some Tommy Sotomayor videos on here. He may be on X because X you really not gonna get. You know, you're not getting censored like that. But for the most part, you really didn't hear to this magnitude. Men. Now you had a sister. Kevin Samuels has mentioned Shazarad Ali. I always mess her name out. Which I love that sister who came from a spiritual position and point of view with things. You know, she got made fun of in the early 90s, and Living Color was making fun of her because she wrote a book about this very thing. You know, some of the red pill talk and ideology, to be totally honest, women have said before. They have. Women have said before, but the thing is, again, it's it was that was like the prehistoric time of it. It was very rare. Now that you have social media and we can all get on here and talk, you're hearing it within the last 5 years, these last 4 to 5 years. You're just hearing this heavy critique of women. And again, I want to say critique because that's what it really is. Men are just talking about what their issues are with women. But we do not have in modern society now. I have a bold prediction. You know, I wish the conversation would elevate to what's really going on in the world. And it's hard for us to get there. It's hard for us to get to what's really going on in the world because we are stuck in this relationship conversation. But when you think about the potential of war, when you think about the potential of society just changing as a whole in just an astronomical way, um, I think relationships are gonna matter and people staying together are gonna matter. Because what do we do when we go back to a time, let's say like World War II, or families needed to be together. What if the economy changes and a lot of these ancillary six-figure jobs these women think they're gonna keep and have go away? What happens with the one thing that I do believe in, and I'm not pushing this on anybody, is I believe in God. And I believe that at the end of the day, God will humble everybody. Everybody's going to be humble. Right now, currently, you hear our women talking about and bragging about a lot of how much money they make and how much better they're doing than men. You hear that. But what happens if that were to be removed? What happens when that comfort goes away of you having that at home job, or some of these jobs where they're just doing some visits, or some of these oil jobs? What happens if that go away? Then what's going to happen then? What happens if society just changes in such a way that you women have to rely on men in such a way more than they've ever had before? Who's to say that that won't happen? So let's say the oil industry changes, petroleum. I'm in Houston, so there's a lot of petroleum here. I mean, it's the energy capital of the world. Most of the energy jobs are here. Let's say they shut that down channel. That's where AI is doing that. You do know, y'all do know that I like that homesteads and compounds, family by blood or relation. I love that, and I think that's something that's gonna come. Um, AI is taking over. AI is taking AI is moving at such a rate, to me, that's scary. AI is just moving. Okay, so like I honestly believe like a lot of these telehealth. So you got like nurses, nurse practitioners and stuff. They do a lot of telehealth. Well, what happens is overall general information. What happens when the AI is conducting a telehealth thing? And if it's too much for the AI to, make a calculation or give you a prescription on it or whatever the case may be, then they'll send you to a doctor or then they refer you to a nurse that'll call you back in so much time if it's not an emergency, blah, 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 blah. Y'all know how that's going to go. Because even when it comes to customer service, I think we've talked about that here before too. Most of the time, you talking to a robot. You talking to somebody that's a robot. Or you talking to some artificial intelligence. So what happens when artificial intelligence comes and takes most of the jobs? What are these women going to do? Same thing for men. I mean, men always find a way, but okay, if it's just plumbing and all these other jobs where there's manual labor there, do you think women are going to want to do that? And then I said this in a conversation with a family member today. All the bragging of how much money they're making and going to school, what's the results of that in the community? Where do we okay, so if y'all are collectively doing better than black men, I should be able to see that the result of that, right? I should be able to see that the wage gap is closed. I should be able to see some super PACs politically that y'all are investing in some political um, movements. I should be able to. What are you doing for the community? What are you doing for the community outside of saying or bragging on how much money you got and how much more money you're making than your man? What are you doing for the community outside of that? So you just making money. You just making more money than your man. You bragging on that, and that's helped the community in what ways? Okay, when we look at the marital rates, it's down. Out of wedlock, birth rates high. Bruh, I've seen women. This is no lie. I've seen women ain't got not now one husband and be taking all these baby shower pics and baby shower little movies and stuff. I've never seen a bridal shower for you, but I've seen baby showers for you. And they just be parading around with this baby. Like I've never seen single motherhood worshiped and praised the way I've seen it in the black community. It's actually pretty sickening. I mean, beautiful women parading around with a baby and don't have no husband and just talking about their money and what they can do and them having a baby. And the truth is, this is the part that a lot of people don't want to go into. If you talk to a lot of family members and if you talk to people around these women, they have a tough time raising it. So that's something that we do reflect and see on the opposite side is that a lot of these women do terrible jobs raising kids by themselves. We see that. We see that a lot of these women do terrible jobs raising kids by themselves, but will parade around online exemplifying that. So when somebody has critique of Red Pill Manosphere talk, but don't have critique of that in real time, I know you got a problem, you got an issue. Man, I got so much more. I think there's certain conversations I'ma save for like once we get to membership status. Cause it's some more personal stuff I really want to share with y'all. A lot of this stuff that I be talking about, I also have real time experience. I've seen it in real time. Let me see. You said if AI takes most of the jobs, then comes all of the AI calculations available jobs for qualified humans and the avoidance of future crimes by deleting too many humans according to AI. Hey, this can happen. It can happen. And then what? We got to wake up. The problems that we're facing geopolitically, again, I have other channels where I talk about this. Here is just relationships. But I would love to talk about the other things. But I know we can't get past that here because we have a lot of conversation to have about relationships. But geopolitically, what's going on? Oh my goodness. It's a bunch of stuff going on. And we caught in the 50-50 dialogue. It's so much stuff going on in the world that requires our attention, and we can't get past the 50-50 discussion. We can't get past taking her to cheesecake or not. It's so much information that it's so many situations out here to be dealt with, but we can't get past that because we haven't fixed the family. Someone said to me today on Facebook that they don't feel that the Red Pill Manosphere world has done anything for the black community, and I beg to differ. I think what it has done is it has sparked the dialogue that we need because any revolution that's going to, first off, the revolution that needs to take place in the black community is not this, we don't need another Black Panther Party. We don't need another Pan African movement. We don't need another nation. Black people are rooted here, help build the country, and this is our country. The revolutionary thing that we need to do is heal our families so we can finally really be full participants in the country. And we really hadn't because we have we have a big cloud over us. We have a big cloud over us. And so the only way that we're going to take back our pride, our community, is to have families. But you're going to struggle with the family conversation. A lot of us, I'm gonna say this too, Tech. A lot of us, like I was, I think you mean 1968. I know you ain't from the future. I say you see 2968. You mean 1968. And I'm glad you're here. Cause see, we need OGs in here too. We need OGs. I really want a lot of this information where brothers like yourself can come in here and dialogue because this is gonna live on the net. I think as black men, we've kind of been on the spectrum. I've been beta at times. I've been more alpha at times. Then I've just, found my way to manhood and got centered and learned masculinity and manhood. And that's typically something that's gonna come as you get older. I talk about post 35, getting into the 40s, and I know you could talk about that too, and probably identify. Um, you just get more centered with your masculinity and manhood and understanding it. So many of us have been on the spectrum because you got to learn, and that's another reason why the red pill manosphere world is good because we get brothers like us, you know, you know, you got maybe some younger guys coming here. I'm more middle aged guy up to older guys that can come and say, hey, this is what we've experienced, this is what we've been through, and you give the game. That's what we're supposed to do with one another. But the biggest issue has been women because we need them. And our man, we listen, bro. Man, let me tell you something. If these women realized how much they needed us and needed their families and needed to be with their husbands, I think we'd have less divorce. I'm not putting that all off on them. I'm not putting that responsibility off on them because as men, we have to be trained up too. We have to know what we're doing as well. But I believe more times than not, a lot of women run men off. Nobody wants to hear that because at the end of the day, men are responsible. We are responsible. We have to do everything we can to keep those relationships together and keep the families together. But When you have somebody that don't feel good, that don't feel like they keeping, they can't keep up with the Joneses, they can't travel and go do all these things that they want to do all the time, and you trying to manage that, manage a family, that can become a big task. And when you get to dialoguing with different men, I was on a call today. That's another thing too. I have this conversation in different spaces. I am someone that seeks out counsel, and a lot of times I am someone that's giving a level of counsel. I'm not a therapist, but I'm giving a level of counsel through um, I'm giving a level of counseling through experience, and I've had the same thing happen to me. And when I'm talking to a lot of brothers are beat down, man. A lot of that's why, again, this is an impromptu. I wanted to do this. I was inspired to do this, and I just wanted to put this out. But when I saw that dude on Facebook, and my Facebook is kind of heavy, man. It's kind of live. I ain't gonna lie. I got certain spaces where when I put up posts and whatever, I get some conversation in the comment section. And the one thing that it was kind of like a little bit disturbing was just, again, this dude disdain for Red Pill Manosphere talk. But are you talking about the brothers that's just beat down and that's really hurting out here and bothered by what's going? Brothers are beat down, man. You know, Also, man, making enough money. A lot of guys, to their woman that they're with, their liking, they don't make enough. That's the issue. That's the issue. A lot of guys don't make enough to fit the woman they with, her appetite. It's brothers out here, man, gotta work 2 and 3 jobs. I'm somebody that has to work a lot because I have a large family to take care of. And of course, I'm divorced. But having to just work, I know a brother working 2 full-time jobs. Two, two full-time jobs. Now he's able to do this because it's one of those remote job situations. But he's having to work just to make sure his household is happy. You got a lot. Listen, I ain't got nothing against work. I love work. Work is gang work. A little work, hard work ain't hurt nobody. Hard work is good. But you have some men, their time is so consumed with working and making sure that that house is good that they never make sure they're good. They never make sure their health is good. Why aren't we talking about that? You got men that are working towards an early grave because that woman at home is cracking the whip on them so they can have stuff. Y'all don't believe that happened? When a man wants a woman that doesn't need him, the man will find another woman that fills the gap of appreciation that comes from a woman who needs him, and she's not resentful for her need of the man. Yep, yep. That's exactly it. And that's really how you even get into the adultery cheating world. See, nobody wants to talk about that. It's this whole idea that you just getting up out here and cheating on this lady and messing around on this woman. But the truth is, often and a lot of times, when a man builds up, when you build some resentment towards your woman at the house, and she dogging you out, in terms of how she talks to you, and she's coming with that independent crap. Yeah, you'll step out. You'll go find somebody that needs you, that appreciates you. Men want to be appreciated. Often, more times often than not, men are not appreciated. You're not gonna get no appreciation for what you do at the house. You're not gonna get no appreciation for what you're doing at the job site, all the overtime you're working. You're not gonna get that. So what are men to do? Where are we to go talk about these things? How do we vent and get this out? And look, I'm not saying I do believe in counseling. I've got friends that don't necessarily agree with that. I believe in counseling, but a lot of times this might be counseling for somebody, just being able to relate. Like, man, this brother, man, charm guy, he on it. He on it today. I've been through that. It's been people that came through this chat and said that. I went from high school to the military too, and I had got a wife. I married her. I married her, put her through school, provided education for her, was able to get benefits to provide for my daughter. But when we broke up, I was an ain't shit dude. I I was an ain't shit dude, and not only was I an ain't shit dude, it turns out that I had never did anything for her. Now I don't want to use this personal story to give a poor illustration of her because that's just a lack of guidance. And I don't want to position myself in a light that looks better than her because that would be unfair. But it is to show you that it's almost like you can't do enough sometimes. And then they wonder why we trip out. Put you through school, got you an education, made it to where you could be where you at today. And because we couldn't align on the issues or get it right, and we disbanded the relationship, you know, this was at a time, the perception of me was that I was an ain't shit dude. And of course, the only narrative that came out of it was that I was cheating on her. And that's why I don't listen. I don't listen to women when they talk about what's going on in their relationships. Because they gonna lie for the most part. They're not gonna be truthful. It's a lot of dudes in the military that got them Dear John letters. They not gonna be true. They not gonna be truthful and tell the truth. They're only so. I like to ask things like this: why he cheat on you? So you mean this man woke up one day and got the spirit of Ike Turner and Joe Jackson in him, and he just decided to get up and start cheating on you? We gotta start busting these myths and talking about sometimes why a man step out. A lot of times a man is stepping out because that lady treats him better. She just nicer than you. A lot of times that lady, the woman that is treating that man good and being nice and bringing him pie to the job. I talked about this a couple lives ago. Bringing him some pie to the job, and this is why I talk about that cooking thing. Cooking is very important because I learned this. I was a cook in the Navy. Okay, cooking builds morale. Cooking, cooking good food. My bad. Not just cooking, but making good food builds morale. So what do you think that do for your man? So you don't cook, you nag, and then this dude go to work, and it's somebody that's making food for him, being nice to him, treating him good, nah, whatever the case may be. And what you think gonna happen after a while? Especially if you being a B word at the house. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap this live up. I didn't want to keep this too long, man. I appreciate everybody that chimed in. Taking, I appreciate you. Um, I'm going live again tomorrow at 4:30. Um, you know, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday we go live. I might throw some extra ones in the mix, but I just want to talk about that Red Pill Manosphere. Um, it's a conversation that we need to have, man. Damn, I told a brother from another company since I was out. He pulled me to the side, and after I told him, damn. Yeah, man, I drove 12 hours to talk. Damn. Damn. You know what? You know what you inspired me to do? Tomorrow, taking, I'm going to talk heartbreak. We're going to get out the women. just for a little bit, and I'm gonna talk heartbreak and when men go through heartbreak, how they're driven to the manosphere world. I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow at 4:30. Man, be blessed. Have a good one, man. I love everybody that tuned in, taking you my guy. I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Peace.